Space was quiet. Too quiet. The Imperium fleet moved slowly through a dark and empty region of the galaxy where almost nothing lived. No planets. No stations. No trade routes. Only silence and black space stretching in every direction. For many officers this area felt dead. Even their own engines sounded louder than usual. On the command bridge of the lead battleship Imperius Dawn, the mood was calm but tense. The crew followed routine checks, watched the scanners and waited for the Admiral's next order. It was supposed to be a simple patrol mission. Nothing more. But everything changed in one moment. "Admiral, I'm picking up something," the scanner officer said, his voice shaking slightly. The Admiral turned. "Something? Out here? Show me." The officer increased the display. A small blinking dot appeared on the screen. The scanner drew a weak signal line, broken and unstable like something very old, or very damaged. "It's an unknown signal," the officer whispered. "Not Imperium. Not any nearby species. I don't recognize it at all." Another officer leaned closer. "No ship should be in this region. No one travels here." Whispers spread across the bridge. The Imperium was proud, powerful, and always informed. They controlled this whole sector. If something was here without permission, it meant trouble. "Could it be a trap?" one commander asked. "Or a ghost signal?" another replied. "Old distress calls sometimes bounce around for years." The Admiral raised a hand. "Enough. We will not guess. We will prepare." His voice carried a calm strength, but even he felt a strange pressure in his chest. The air felt heavier. Something was wrong. "Order all ships to stop," he commanded. "Form a defensive line. Shields at 50%. Weapons on standby." The message spread through the fleet instantly. One by one, ships slowed, engines dimmed, and the formation tightened. 10 cruisers, 4 destroyers, and the flagship Imperius Dawn formed a wall of steel in the darkness. For a few long seconds, there was only silence. Then the signal changed. The blinking dot on the scanner suddenly moved. "Admiral, the signal is getting stronger," the scanner officer said louder this time. "And it's coming toward us." The bridge went silent again, but this time only fear filled the gaps. "That cannot be right," the Admiral muttered. "Are you sure?" "Yes, sir. It is approaching fast." Another officer added, "No known species uses a signal like this. And no ship we know travels this deep into space. Whatever this is, it's not friendly." The Admiral's eyes narrowed. "Bring weapons to full charge. All ships prepare for contact." Alarms echoed through the fleet. Red lights flashed across every deck. Soldiers rushed to stations. Pilots strapped into their fighters. Engineers activated shield generators. The entire Imperium fleet awakened like a sleeping giant ready for war. But the unknown signal moved faster. Much faster. "It's too big to be a fighter, too slow to be debris, and too strong to be a lost probe," the officer said, staring at the scanner. His hands shook. "Sir, I think it's a ship." A heavy silence fell again. "What kind of ship?" the Admiral asked. I don't know. The scanners cannot map its structure. The signal keeps breaking." The bridge crew felt something they rarely felt: uncertainty. "Put the image on holo screen," the Admiral ordered. The screen flickered, static, darkness. Then a faint shadow appeared. A very large shadow. A shape so big it barely fit inside the display. What is that?" an officer whispered. The ship was enormous. Thick armored plates. Sharp angles. A long body like a spear made for war. But the strangest thing was its movement, slow, controlled, and fearless. Like it didn't care about the Imperium fleet waiting in its path. The Admiral stood from his command seat. "This is no ghost signal. This is a battleship." He felt his throat tighten. Even his own fleet's battleships were smaller than this thing. "Send warning messages," he ordered quickly. "Identify yourself to the unknown vessel. Tell it to stop." The communication officer tapped the controls. Message sent. They waited. No reply. He sent another message. Still nothing. "Sir," the officer said quietly, "it's ignoring us." Ignoring the Imperium was not normal. It was suicide. "Scan it again," the Admiral said sharply. The officer scanned and froze. "Admiral, the ship is accelerating." "What?" "It's increasing speed. It's coming straight toward us." Fear spread across the bridge like ice. Some officers stepped back from their screens. "Shields to maximum," the Admiral shouted. The fleet's ships powered up, engines glowing bright, lasers warming, missiles arming. Everything was ready for battle. But the unknown ship didn't slow. It moved like a giant shadow tearing through the darkness, coming closer and closer. Its size became clearer on the hollow screen. Massive, ancient, terrifying, and still, silent. The Admiral felt something cold crawl up his spine. No known species build ships like this, he whispered. No one. The scanner officer swallowed hard. Sir, I think it sees us. The shadow on the screen grew larger, and larger, and larger, until it filled the entire display. The bridge crew could almost feel its presence. Then the officer shouted, Admiral, the ship is approaching fast, and it is not slowing down. The entire fleet held its breath. This was the moment everything changed. This was the moment the Imperium met something they never expected. Something human. The unknown battleship kept coming, silent, enormous, unstoppable. Every officer on the Imperious Dawn stared at the glowing scanner screen, unable to look away. The shadow was no longer a shape. It was now a monster of metal pushing straight toward the Imperium fleet. Distance, 10,000 kilometers, 8,000, 6,000, the scanner officer announced with a stiff voice. The Admiral gripped the arm of his command chair so tightly his knuckles turned white. Prepare for impact maneuvers, he ordered. But deep down he knew one thing. If something this big hit them even by accident, an entire cruiser would break in half. All around him, the crew breathed fast, eyes locked on their screens, waiting for the unknown giant to fire, or crash, or speak. But it did none of those things. It only came closer, and closer, and closer. As the shadow approached, details finally became clear on the hollow screen. Its surface was dark but polished, scarred with old battle damage. Thick armor plates overlapped like the hide of some ancient beast. Massive engines glowed faint blue, pushing the ship forward with calm power. An officer whispered, "It looks old, but advanced. Very advanced." Another added, "This design? I've never seen anything like it." No one had. No Imperium scientist had ever predicted such a ship could exist, especially this deep in empty space. "Have they responded to our warnings?" the Admiral asked sharply. The communication officer shook his head. "Nothing, sir. They're not even trying to send a signal. It's like they don't care." The Admiral felt a chill. "Or like they already know everything they need to know about us," he muttered. The ship reached 5,000 kilometers. The moment it crossed that threshold, Imperium officers gasped. Because the unknown vessel finally did something. Its engines dimmed. Its outer hull shifted, small lights glowing like fireflies. And then, the ship stopped. Not slowly. Not awkwardly. It stopped instantly. A perfect halt. No drift. No shake. No sign of stress. Every scientist in the galaxy would have fainted. "No ship should be able to stop like that," the engineering officer whispered. "It breaks the laws of inertia." The Admiral felt sweat on his forehead. Whoever built this ship played with physics like toys. "Sir, it's scanning us," another officer announced. The bridge lights flickered. Their control panels shifted. For a moment, the feeling of being watched washed through everyone on board. A thin beam of white light moved across the Imperium formation like a spotlight in the dark. "What kind of scan is this?" the Admiral demanded. "It's unbelievably strong," the officer said. "It's reading our shields, weapons, engines, everything." The Admiral's stomach dropped. "Can we block it?" "No, sir, it's ignoring our shields." Ignoring their shields. Scanning their warships like it was reading a book. This was not a lost ship. This was not a broken machine. This was something far more dangerous. "Sir," the communication officer said suddenly, "I'm getting a signal." "From the unknown ship?" "Yes." The Admiral straightened, eyes wide. "Put it through." The speakers crackled with static for a moment. Then a voice, calm, deep, human, filled the bridge. "Imperium fleet, stand down. You are in the path of a human warship." The bridge went silent. So silent that even the ship's hum felt loud. Human? Impossible. Humans were a tiny species. Weak. Primitive. Their ships were small, barely equipped for deep space. The Imperium knew everything about them, or so they believed. But this voice, this ship, this power, none of it matched what they knew. The Admiral's heart pounded. "Did he say, human?" "Yes, sir," the communication officer whispered. "It's a human voice." Another officer shook his head. "Humans can't build ships like this. They don't have the resources, the technology, or the courage." The voice spoke again. "This is Captain Elias Ward of the human battleship Resolute. Identify yourselves immediately." The bridge erupted in shock. "A battleship?" Humans had never built anything larger than a cruiser. The admiral quickly activated the comms. "This is Admiral Varos of the Imperium fleet," he replied. "You are entering restricted space. Explain your presence." A moment of silence. Then the human captain spoke again, voice still calm. "We are not entering." A shiver ran through every officer. "We are passing through." Passing through? Past an entire fleet? "Human vessel," the admiral said sternly. "You will halt your movement. You will submit to Imperium inspection. You will." The admiral didn't finish his sentence. Because the Resolute rotated slightly, turning its side toward the Imperium fleet. Its massive hull shimmered. Panels shifted. Something deep inside the ship awakened. The scanner beeped loudly. "Sir," an officer cried. "Their weapon systems are charging." The admiral froze. "What? Already?" "Yes, sir. Power readings are rising fast, very fast." The human voice returned, no anger, no fear, only certainty. "Admiral Varos, do not threaten us again." A flash of light burst across the Resolute's hull as its energy weapons hummed with deadly power. Every Imperium ship raised shields to maximum, alarms ringing everywhere. But the human ship did not fire. Not yet. It simply held position. Waiting. Watching. Daring the Imperium to make the next move. The human captain spoke one more time. "We will defend ourselves if needed. But we do not seek a fight." The admiral clenched his jaw. His fleet was powerful, but he knew it in his bones. This ship was stronger. And if a battle began, the Imperium might not win. "Admiral," the first officer whispered, voice trembling. "What are your orders?" The space between the two forces felt like a tight rope, thin, ready to snap. The admiral stared at the giant human ship, fear slowly turning into something else. Realization. Humanity had changed. And whatever they had become, they were not weak anymore. Silence filled the bridge like a heavy fog. No one moved. No one spoke. The Imperium fleet floated in perfect formation, shields glowing, weapons ready, every ship tense like a bow pulled tight. Across from them the human battleship Resolute waited, dark, silent, watching. It did not move. It did not blink. It only held its charged weapons pointed directly at the Imperium flagship. The crew on the Imperious Dawn stood frozen. "Human technology cannot be this strong," one officer whispered. Another replied quietly, "Maybe the humans we know are not the humans they are now." The admiral kept his eyes fixed on the massive ship. His heart beat slowly but heavily, each beat louder than the last. He had commanded dozens of battles and faced many enemies, but he had never seen a ship like this. Not even in the oldest Imperial records. "Human battleship Resolute?" he muttered under his breath, still unable to believe it. The scanner officer interrupted his thoughts. "Admiral, their energy readings, they keep rising. It is not a bluff. They are ready to fire at any second." This was the moment that could start a war, or prevent one. The admiral inhaled slowly. "All ships hold position. No one fires without my command." But fear was a dangerous thing. And somewhere within the Imperium fleet, fear was about to break order. On the flank of the formation, inside the smaller destroyer Icaron's Spear, the ship's captain paced back and forth. He was younger, ambitious, and carried a deep hatred for the human species. He saw them as weak, annoying, undeserving of space. He slammed his fist on his console. "We cannot let this thing pass," he shouted. His first officer hesitated. "Sir, the admiral ordered us to hold." "Do you not understand?" the captain snapped. "If we let this battleship go, they will return with more. Humans will spread. All weak races spread. We must show strength first." His voice was shaking with anger. "Target their weapons," he ordered. A warning shot. Enough to show our power. The first officer stepped back, eyes wide. "Sir, that ship is too strong. What if it fires back?" The captain hissed, "Then the fleet will support us." But the first officer's face showed the truth. No one wanted to be the first to anger the giant human ship. Still, the captain pushed forward. "Charge the main cannon," he commanded. And in that moment the spark of war was born, out of pride and fear. Back on the Imperious Dawn, alarms suddenly lit up. "Admiral, the Icaron Spear is charging weapons." The admiral's eyes widened. "What? Who gave that order?" "Tell them to stand down immediately." The communication officer yelled into the channel, "Icaron Spear, cease fire." "Admiral's orders. Stand down." No response. The admiral slammed his hand on the console, voice sharp, If they fire at that ship, they will doom us all. But it was already too late. A bright flash burst from the destroyer's cannon. A single energy beam shot across the dark space, straight toward the human battleship. Every officer on every ship in the fleet gasped. No. Not now. What have they done? The beam hit the Resolute's hull. But instead of damage, instead of sparks, instead of explosion, the beam melted away. Like water splashing against a stone. No effect. No mark. No crack. The human battleship did not even shake. Then, the Resolute awakened. Panels slid open across its hull. Energy lines glowed like rivers of light. Deep within its core, ancient engines hummed with raw power. Its weapons, massive, terrifying, locked onto the Imperium fleet with mechanical precision. The human captain's voice came through, calm but colder than ice. Imperium vessel, you have fired on a human ship. If you fire again, we will respond with full force. The bridge of the Imperious Dawn filled with fear. The admiral shouted, withdraw the Icaron's spear. All ships, hold your fire. But the destroyer captain ignored the orders. He was blinded now, by pride, by fear, by the desire to prove the Imperium's might. Charge again, he ordered. His crew protested. Sir, this is madness. Do it. His voice cracked with desperation. And he fired again. Another beam. Another useless strike. And this time, the Resolute reacted. The human captain spoke only one sentence. Enough. A single blast erupted from the Resolute, one thin line of white energy, elegant and controlled. It traveled silently. Fast. Precise. The beam hit the Icaron's spear. And the destroyer vanished. Not exploded. Not shattered. Not broken. Erased. A sphere of white light appeared for half a second. Then nothing remained. No wreckage. No debris. Only dust floating in space. The bridge of the Imperious Dawn fell silent in horror. Every officer felt their throat tighten. Their heart stopped. Their fear turned real. One thought hit all of them at the same time. If this is the power of one human battleship, what happens if they build a fleet? The human captain spoke again, his voice steady and calm but deadly serious. That was a defensive shot. Do not test us again. The admiral felt his legs weaken. He gripped the railing to steady himself. He now understood. The Imperium was not the apex predator of the galaxy anymore. Humans were rising. And they were not the same species the Imperium once believed them to be. Admiral, his first officer whispered, voice trembling. What are your orders now? The admiral stared at the glowing human battleship. And for the first time in many years he did not know the right answer. The bridge of the Imperious Dawn felt frozen. No one moved. No one breathed normally. Every officer stood stiff, faces pale, eyes wide with shock. The Icaron spear, an Imperium destroyer, had not fallen. It had not exploded. It had been erased. One clean shot. One perfect strike. One moment the ship existed. And the next it was gone. The admiral felt a heavy weight press down on his chest. He stared at the empty space where the destroyer had once been. Just moments ago that space held hundreds of lives. Officers, engineers, soldiers, now all gone. The bridge crew tried to stay silent, but fear escaped through whispers. They destroyed it with one hit. Not even debris left. What kind of weapon does a human ship carry? Nobody knew. And that was the most terrifying part. The human captain's voice returned, clear and steady. Imperium fleet. We repeat, we do not want war. But we will defend ourselves without hesitation. His tone was calm, but it cut deeper than any blade. The admiral swallowed hard. He forced himself to speak even though his voice felt tight. Human vessel, this situation should not have happened. That captain fired without my order. The Imperium does not. His words were interrupted. Because the Resolute moved. Not forward. Not sideways. Not to attack. It rotated slowly in place, revealing its full size. When the entire hull turned and the light hit its armored plates, the Imperium officers finally saw it clearly for the first time. The breath left their lungs. It's bigger than a dreadnought, one officer whispered. No, another said quietly. It's bigger than 2 dreadnoughts. They weren't wrong. The ship was colossal, far larger than anything a small, simple species like the humans should ever have built. And as it finished turning, more panels along its sides glowed with blue energy. They looked like dormant weapons, hundreds of them. Hidden, silent, but alive. The admiral felt his stomach twist. How could humans build this? Why did they build this? What changed? His thoughts were interrupted by the scanner officer. Admiral, I'm reading something strange. What now? The Admiral asked, almost afraid of the answer. The human ship, it's only using 3% of its total power. The bridge fell silent again. 3%? 3% had erased an Imperium destroyer. 3% had made the fleet freeze in fear. If that ship ever reached full power. The thought was too dark to complete. The Admiral forced himself to speak again. Human battleship Resolute, what is your purpose here? This time the human captain took a moment before answering. When he did speak, his voice felt heavier, more serious. We are on a mission. A mission that concerns the future of our species, and possibly yours. The Imperium officers glanced at each other. What did that mean? What mission? The Admiral asked carefully, what kind of mission? A short pause. Then Captain Elias Ward replied. We are hunting something. The officers stiffened. Hunting? What exactly are you hunting? The Admiral asked slowly. The human captain answered with no hesitation. A threat. One that destroyed 7 human colonies. One that has been following us through deep space. The bridge lights flickered. The officers shifted nervously. 7 colonies? The Imperium had no report of this. No rumor. No whisper. What enemy could destroy 7 human colonies without the Imperium noticing? The Admiral felt uneasy. What type of enemy is it? The human captain's voice lowered. We don't know. The Admiral's chest tightened. We call it the Void Phantom, the human continued. It attacks without warning. It leaves nothing behind. No survivors. No signals. Nothing. A chill ran through the bridge. Humans were describing something deadly. Something that even their massive ship feared. Your ship, the Admiral said slowly, is it running from this enemy? No, the human captain replied. We are trying to stop it. The Admiral stared at the massive human battleship. A ship this powerful, on a hunt? Chasing something even deadlier? Fear turned into confusion. Confusion turned into curiosity. And curiosity turned into dread. What makes you think this enemy is coming here? The Admiral asked. A deeper silence filled the bridge. Then the scanner officer shouted. Admiral. New signal. Behind the human ship. The bridge screens flashed red. A distortion appeared in space, a swirling tear of light. Something was pushing through. Something huge. Something wrong. The human captain's voice came through instantly. Admiral Varos, listen carefully. The tear grew wider. Space rippled like water around it. Every ship's alarm screamed. The Void Phantom has found us. A massive, dark shape began to force itself through the tear, larger than a cruiser, silent as death, its surface shifting like a shadow made of metal and smoke. The Admiral could only whisper. What is that? The human captain spoke his final warning. Imperium fleet, prepare yourselves. This is not a human threat. This is something far worse. The tear snapped open. The creature, machine, emerged fully, and space itself seemed to tremble. The tear in space ripped wider, stretching like a wound in the fabric of reality. Every light in the Imperium fleet flickered. Every screen distorted. Every officer felt a pressure deep in their chest, as if something enormous and ancient had just opened its eyes. The dark shape emerging from the rift grew larger, slowly, painfully slowly, like it was climbing out of a nightmare. The Admiral whispered, By the stars, what are we looking at? No one had words. The creature, or ship, was unlike anything in known space. Its surface didn't look like metal or armor. It looked like shifting black smoke trapped inside plates of liquid glass. Sometimes it looked solid. Sometimes it looked empty. Sometimes its edges moved like they were alive. No lights. No engines. No sound. Just presence. Cold, patient watching. The human captain spoke through comms, voice tight now, not calm, not steady like before. This time he sounded like a warrior preparing for death. Imperium fleet, maintain distance. That thing destroys anything that gets too close. The Admiral swallowed. You fought it before? The human captain replied. No. We've only survived it. A sudden pulse of cold energy exploded from the rift. Every Imperium shield dimmed. Every scanner screamed with errors. A few smaller frigates lost power for several seconds. The Imperium fleet panicked. Shields down. Weapons not responding. Engine power fluctuating. The Admiral gripped his command chair. Reboot systems. Stabilize power. The creature finished emerging. It stretched across space like a long, distorted shape, part machine, part shadow, part nightmare. The tear behind it closed with a sharp snap of light. The Void Phantom was now fully here. And very awake. Meanwhile, on the Resolute, the human crew moved with terrifying precision. Lock main cannons. Activate quantum shields. Charge containment grid. Keep eyes on its front plates. If they open, it's about to fire. The human captain's voice was sharper than ever. Target the Phantom. Do not miss. The human battleship rotated, weapons glowing brighter, engines humming with old and powerful energy. The Admiral watched from the Imperious dawn in stunned silence. This human ship, this monstrous battleship, wasn't afraid. Not anymore. It was preparing to fight. The Admiral finally regained his voice. All ships prepare for combat. Form defensive position with the human battleship. His first officer stared at him. Sir, we are fighting with the humans? The Admiral nodded, jaw tight. There is no choice now. That thing is not human. That thing is not Imperium. It is something else. He looked at the huge dark creature spreading across space. And if it killed 7 human colonies, it will kill many more. The Void Phantom moved for the first time. It didn't use engines. It didn't push itself. It simply shifted, like space carried it forward. The Imperium officers felt a cold wave run through their bodies. Distance 20,000 kilometers, 15, 10. The scanner officer's voice shook. The Admiral shouted, all ships fall back. Get distance. But it was too late. The Phantom opened plates along its side, like ribs unfolding. A bright, unnatural purple glow shined inside its shadowy interior. The scanner officer shouted, horrified, it's charging a weapon. The human captain spoke at the same moment. Brace yourselves. A beam of swirling dark energy shot across space, silent but terrifying. It hit the nearest Imperium cruiser. The ship didn't explode. It didn't burn. It simply dissolved. Metal turned into dust. Dust turned into smoke. Smoke faded into nothing. Hundreds of lives vanished in the span of a heartbeat. The bridge crew of the Imperious Dawn cried out. Another ship gone. What kind of weapon is that? Admiral, we cannot stop this thing. The Admiral forced himself to stay calm, but fear shook him to the bone. He shouted, human captain. How do we fight this? The answer came instantly. You don't. A cold pause. You survive while we fight it. The Imperium officers stared at each other. Survive? What did that mean? But before anyone could ask, the human battleship moved. The Resolute surged forward with a blast of ancient engines. Its hull glowed with bright blue lines. Massive cannon ports opened across its sides. The human captain gave one command. Fire. And the universe lit up. Dozens of human plasma beams shot out at once. White-hot. Blinding. Beautiful and deadly. They struck the Void Phantom's shifting body, cutting through shadow and smoke. For the first time, the creature recoiled, its shape twisting in pain or confusion. The Imperium officers gasped. It can be hurt. Humans can damage it. The Admiral felt hope spark inside him. But that hope lasted only 3 seconds. Because the Phantom turned its attention to the human battleship. The plates along its long body shifted again, faster, angrier. Dark energy gathered at its core. The human captain shouted. Brace, brace, brace. The Phantom fired. A massive beam of shadow energy shot across the void, heading straight for the Resolute. The Admiral couldn't look away. Human ship. Shields up. The beam hit the human battleship. Light erupted. Space trembled. Shockwaves hit the entire Imperium fleet. But when the light faded, the Resolute was still there. Smoke drifted from its sides. Armor plates were cracked. Shields flickered wildly. But it lived. The Admiral whispered in awe. How is that possible? And then he heard the human captain breathe heavily through the comms. Imperium fleet, listen carefully. We cannot defeat this thing alone. The Phantom drifted closer, gathering more energy. Fight with us, or every species in this region will fall next. The Admiral stood straight. Eyes hard. Decision clear. He turned to his crew. Ready all weapons. Target the Phantom. All ships prepare for joint attack. He raised his hand. On my command, fire with the humans. The fleet waited for the signal. The Phantom charged its weapon again. And the Admiral dropped his hand. Fire, he roared. The Imperium fleet unleashed its full power, just as the human battleship fired again. Light and shadow collided. Space boiled. The first true battle against the Void Phantom had begun. Space exploded with light. Thousands of Imperium plasma beams crossed the void. The human battleship's cannons fired in bright blue lines. The Void Phantom answered with swirling dark energy that ate light whole. The first collision of weapons shook the battlefield. Shockwaves spread for thousands of kilometers, making even distant stars flicker. Inside the Imperious Dawn, officers grabbed onto their consoles as alarms screamed. Shields at 60%. Energy spikes across the Phantom's hull. Weapons cycling. The Admiral leaned forward, eyes burning with determination. For the first time, Imperium fire was actually landing on the creature. The Phantom's outer shell, its strange liquid glass armor, shivered under the impacts. Cracks formed. Shadow leaked through them like poison. But the creature did not slow down. If anything, it got angrier. The Phantom opened new plates across its long body. Dozens of glowing purple eyes appeared along its sides. The Admiral felt dread crawl up his spine. It's adapting. The creature fired multiple beams at once, wide, sweeping lines of shadow energy that carved through space. One beam sliced directly across a formation of Imperium frigates. 3 ships vanished instantly. Not destroyed. Not broken. Just erased from existence. The bridge fell silent in horror. Then, another beam. A destroyer was cut in half, its front drifting one way, its engines drifting another. The Admiral slammed his fist down. All ships, scatter formation. Do not stay grouped. But the Phantom tracked them easily, shifting like liquid around the battlefield. It fired again, this time at the human battleship. The Resolute took the full hit. The impact threw the massive ship sideways, armor plates ripping off and spinning into the void. Inside the human ship, sparks showered the bridge. Crew members yelled as consoles burst. The captain held onto his chair as the floor shook. Damage report. Shields at 20%. Main cannons charging slow. Engine 3 offline. Reactor stable for now. The human captain gritted his teeth. Keep us moving. If we stop, we die. They pushed forward again, weapons glowing hot. On the Imperium flagship, the Admiral understood something new. The humans were not stronger because of technology. Yes, their weapons were old, powerful, dangerous. But what truly made them dangerous was that they refused to stop moving. Even when injured. Even when their ship was breaking. Even when death stared straight at them. Humans fought forward. Always forward. Suddenly the Phantom shifted shape. Its body stretched, splitting into 3 long arms of shadow. Each arm pointed in a different direction. The scanner officer gasped. Admiral, it's targeting our command ships. The Admiral felt his heart freeze. The Phantom fired all 3 beams. The Imperium's second command ship exploded instantly. Its shield failed, its hull melted like ice under fire. The third command ship tried to evade. But the beam followed it like a living thing. Impact. The ship vanished in a burst of purple dust. The Admiral stared in disbelief. 2 of his main command vessels, gone in seconds. His fleet was collapsing. He turned desperately toward the human battleship. Human captain. We cannot hold much longer. The human captain responded calmly, but behind his voice was pain and exhaustion. Then listen carefully, Admiral. We are preparing our final weapon. The bridge crew of the Imperious Dawn froze. Final weapon? What final weapon? The Admiral leaned in. What do you mean? The human captain's voice grew darker. This weapon was not meant to be used again. It burns everything. Even us. The Admiral swallowed hard. Are you telling me this is a suicide tactic? No. Not suicide. Pause. A gamble. The Resolute's engines flared, gathering power. Large plates on the human ship began moving, unlocking, sliding apart, revealing a glowing chamber deep inside its core. The Admiral's eyes widened. What is that? The human captain breathed out. A star core. Silence. A star core? The Imperium only used small reactors. But humans? These humans were carrying a caged microstar inside their battleship. That was impossible. Or maybe, that was why the Void Phantom feared human colonies. That was why it hunted them. That was why it destroyed 7 colonies. Because humans had the one weapon the Phantom could not consume. Light. Pure, unfiltered, burning starlight. The Phantom sensed the danger. It screeched, a sound felt not by ears but by bones. His body pulled back. Its outer plates locked tight. A defensive posture. Was afraid. The Admiral felt a spark of hope. Real hope for the first time. The human captain gave the order. Begin ignition sequence. Inside the Resolute, alarms turned red. The ship shook harder. Engines overloaded. The microstar core burned brighter. Every crew member strapped in, knowing this might be their final moment. The Admiral watched the glowing human ship from a distance. He whispered, "Good luck, humans?" The Phantom moved fast, faster than ever, charging a massive beam straight toward the Resolute. The human captain roared, "Ignite the core!" A blinding explosion of pure light burst from the center of the Resolute. White, blue, gold. A miniature supernova. The shockwave tore across space. The Phantom screamed as its shadow flesh burned away. Cracks spread across its glass-like armor. Its body twisted violently. The creature began imploding, dragged inward by the light. The Admiral shielded his eyes. His officers cried out. Ships across the Imperium fleet were shoved backward, forced away by the blast. The Phantom shrieked one last time, and collapsed into itself. A black hole opened where it stood. The creature was pulled inside. Then the black hole closed. Silence. Empty space. The Phantom was gone. Destroyed. For the first time. Ever. When the light faded, the Imperium fleet steadied itself. The Admiral looked at the Resolute. It floated in the void, badly damaged, armor burning, engines flickering. But alive. Barely. He exhaled. "They did it," he whispered. "The humans defeated a nightmare." The human captain's voice returned, weak but steady. "Imperium fleet. Enemy neutralized." A long pause. Then, "Send rescue teams. We have casualties." The Admiral stood straight. Every ship capable of movement, set course to the human battleship. Help them. For the first time, an Imperium fleet moved not to attack a human ship, but to save one. A new alliance had been born in fire, and the galaxy would never be the same.